I walk the streets with my swagger on, supernatural, facing a million opponents, and my role is to act alone. Lights, camera when the action's on. Where I roam is a battle zone, a vigilante in the catacombs. But I rock with a hot shot like a clock when it's cocked and popped and the lead is gone. People say that my head is gone, but it's them same people with need of my help when I'm heading home in life. They say that everybody got a purpose, so I roam the city streets like faulty cellular service. The hot shot, sharpshooter, superhero, destined to shine like light through the dark and evil. I fight for what's right in the hearts of people and try to open your eyes, cause it's hard to see truth. You ever feel like everybody's the same but you different? That's when you know you're here to make a difference. Hot shot, you got a choice to make, stand up or stand down. Fight or flight, get up, bang out, the world's wait, can't wait to see what you about. It's showtime, act now. Hot shot, you got a choice to make, stand up or stand down. Fight or flight, get up and bang out, the world's wait, can't wait to see what you about. It's showtime, act now. Hot shot.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Mike Watson is in the building, aka Most Epic, and I am the host of a little show we call Chat and Draw. Chat and Draw is a show where I interview awesome creatives while doing some art of either them or the comic book caricature, some merch, whatever we're feeling. That's what we're doing this episode on this show, and we're 300 episodes plus on this bad boy. Technically, this is episode 307, I believe, but I have another episode after this. You guys know how I do. I schedule things to try to be organized, and then other people come in, and I got to fit them into the schedule somewhere else. So I've got episodes in the future and the past and the present. So yeah, we're just going to rock with it. But happy to have you here. Man, we did a show last week, but it's been crazy. Shout out to Atlantic Comic Con. All right, Atlantic Comic Con did their thing this past weekend. Awesome first show, doing everything right. Great crowd, great city. The hotel was dope. Bravo to Darren and Greg for putting that thing together. Plus, I got to see a lot of my convention family out in this bad boy. A lot of the indies and creatives that I work with, or seeing. I saw Morgan for the first time in real life in what is it, IRL Morgan for the first time. It was awesome. We ate, we took shots of cranberry juice. There was milk and cheesecake. there was wings, and there was all types of comic geekdom. Definitely going to be getting back to Atlantic Comic Con next year. Looking forward to it very much so. But so hey, there's our sponsor down there, Clip Studio, which I'm going to be using today to draw the thing that I will be drawing today. So if you want to try out Clip Studio, or you know someone that's into the arts and they need an art program to do their thing, scan that QR code right there on the screen, and you get 90 days full access to Clip Studio. And tell them Most Epic sent you. All right, let them know what's going down. All right, just to get you catch up on the skinny, the Hot Shot 12 Kickstarter goes out this weekend. Packing and shipping, baby. Jackets. People got jackets. I wanted to wear this because I wanted to update you saying jackets are going out. We're going to be ordering jackets this week for those of you that got them. Your FSK hats, those are going out as well. And we're packing and shipping books this weekend, and that will be all shipped out as well. So you're going to be getting that one because we got to get into our next Kickstarter, people. The next Kickstarter coming up is, wait for it, hold on. It's the Vigilance Trade Volume 1. The Vigilance Trade Volume 1 is our next Kickstarter coming up. So that will be launching very, very soon after we have shipped all of Kickstarter for Hot Shot. Our next event we will be at, our next one, September 14th, another first-time show, another new one on the horizon, Middletown Comic Expo in Middletown, Ohio. We are stomping into Tony Clapper's backyard, and we are going down there. 91 vendors, artists, and creators will be at this show. Cosplayers will be at this show. There's a bouncy gym going to be at this show. The princesses, the 501st, will be at this show. FSK is going to be there in a big way. We got a lot of good things going on at this comic book convention. So if you're in Ohio, Middletown is the place to be September 14th. We'll be making announcements very shortly about FSCon, so stay tuned for that. And we'll be closing out our year at GalaxyCon Columbus. Home show, closing out the year at one of the biggest conventions in Ohio. So come check us out, man. Hey, I think that's all the news. Let's get to our, hold up, I'm rude. Chat, what's up? I am so sorry for ignoring you. Thank you. Oh, thank you for the follow, Aaron Jackson. Appreciate that. Gloria says, hello, homie. It's a pleasure to find a great streamer like you with your gameplay style and streaming content. I'll be glad to be a fan kind of. I don't know if that's a real person. But hey, thank you if you are. I appreciate you. Skateboard and Real Jordan, thank you for the follows. Hey, we're about to dig in and we're about to bring out, as I was saying beforehand, a legendary guest. All right? Look, this guy has voiced some of your favorite characters. Look, I'm excited. I'm excited for this one, man. I can't wait to talk. You know what? Let me just stop playing. Let's stop wasting time. Let's get him out here.
Wait a second. A new opponent has interrupted the tournament.
Oh my goodness, everybody, it is Josh Keaton.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
It is going fine. How are you, sir? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm just here at home, chilling. Had a sort of long day, but not too bad. And riding out the home stretch. Hey, man, I loved your intro with like the boom bap hip hop and all that.
Yeah.
I was over here grooving, man. That was awesome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Especially with as much experience as you have being on all these fantastic shows, playing all these characters and stuff. I mean, we got a lot to dive into today.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So I'm going to start this off easy.
Okay.
First off, for some people that may not know who you are, we're going to give you an opportunity to tell people who you are, what it is that you do. And I got my first question already queued up for you. The chat is popping. We're deep tonight. What's up, Steve? How you doing, man? Good to have you here. Skateboard in the building. Christy is in the building. Chat, if you guys got questions, line them up, and we'll get them asked here. But let's Josh introduce himself and tell you who he is and what he does.
Yeah, man. My name is Josh Keaton. I'm an actor. I am known mainly for voice acting and a bunch of different roles. I've played Superman. No, I haven't played Superman. I want to play Superman. I've played Spider-Man. Many mans. I've played Spider-Man. I've played Iron Man. I've played Ant-Man. I've played Green Lantern. I've played one of the humans in Transformers, Jack Darby. I've played Hercules in the Disney animated film. I've even played Linus when I was like 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and a Peanut special. Let's see, Revolver Ocelot, a bunch of stuff. I started out actually doing on-camera work when I was younger, and then I did that for a long time, most of my life. And then I'd say in my late teens, I was doing some more voiceover, but then I was also in a boy band around that time. And then
whoa,
ended up
all right.
quitting that. And
Boy band?
but had a great time. Had a great time doing it. It's just the music industry wasn't necessarily for me. It's kind of a shady industry, and
Okay.
so yeah, got out of that. Still love music, still love making music, but really decided to focus more on voiceover stuff and voice acting. And so yeah, so that's what I've been doing since then, and it's been great. And yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of cool people. I continue to meet cool people like yourself, and yeah, so I'm just here doing the thing, man.
Well, that is awesome. Very so much so. I did when I looked you up a bit to dive a little deeper into your career. I did see that you were on a boy band, and I
Yes.
was like, "Wow! All right." So I am going to ask about that a little bit later.
All
But
right. All right.
our initial question, getting us fired up. Let me get my sketch started.
Okay.
Here's my window. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's get that up. All right, there we go. Awesome. So my initial question to you, sir, is when did you fall in love with voice acting?
Um, you know what's funny is that I I didn't really like take voice acting seriously as like a thing that I wanted to do until later in my life, till probably like I was in my 20s. However, I always had a love for it.
Okay.
And that was something that was even before I even did voice acting. I mean, I remember growing up with cassette tapes. And so, we would have these like these Disney stories, different stories that you would have like a book and you would have a cassette tape. And that would be like what you would listen to when you were a little kid because you didn't have audiobooks. That was the closest thing it was. It was like a little tape with a companion book. And I used to listen to those and that was like early voice acting. I loved cartoons. I used to watch cartoons all the time. And then I remember in fifth grade, I had my favorite teacher. His name was Mr. Salas. And he was not a voice actor. He was just an elementary school teacher, a great elementary school teacher. And one of the things that he would do is after lunch, when all the kids have been playing for an hour and they're all, riled up and there's tons and tons of energy going through the room, he would kind of calm everybody down by reading a chapter from a Roald Dahl book. And, sometimes it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Sometimes it was James and the Giant Peach or Matilda or whatever. And he would always do all the voices. And he
Mm,
wasn't a voice actor, like he wasn't like this prolific voice actor, but he tried his best and he really committed to it, like it was enough to where that was like what I looked forward to every day. That was the best part of my day was getting to hear Mr. Salas read and act out these chapters from Roald Dahl books, and that just right there to me showed me how much I really loved a story that was really just told, with voice, you know? I mean, you would kinda do some motions and stuff and kind of act it out, but it was mainly the voice, and so when I think back to it now, I'm like, "You know what? Those are the 2 things that I think really, more than anything, like, cemented my love for what I do," and then later on in life, it was something where I really enjoyed it because it allowed me to play parts that I couldn't necessarily play physically. It allowed me to play against my type,
okay.
stuff that I would ask to play live action. I could still play in voice. So that was something that was, as an actor, very freeing, just to be able to have that much more opportunity and approach that many more roles. So yeah, I'd say I've always loved it, but in terms of like really seeing it as something that I really enjoyed doing myself, probably didn't really I didn't really have that realization, that real deep realization until I was probably in my early 20s.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I
See,
mean, because I've been in every facet of the entertainment industry and I just kind of tried a little of this and tried a little of that and went here for a while and went this way for a while and just kind of meandered and tried different things. And this is what I really settled on, you know.
so that is really awesome to hear. I what I really like about that is that you said, and I don't think I've really heard anybody else say this, is that it garnered you opportunities to play characters outside of what you could physically do. That
Yes.
and so just thinking about the library of characters that are open to you,
Yeah.
I've never looked at it like that. That's really cool, man.
Well, and then the other thing that goes along with that is that, like, when I was still auditioning, when I was still doing on camera stuff, especially when I was a teenager, um, I'm I'm mixed race. My mother's from Peru, so I'm Latino,
Mhm.
and there was always I was always kind of stuck in the middle of these two different ethnicities. That there was always just like some casting gatekeeper that would like have to decide if you had this much of you were dark enough to play this role, or you were too dark to play this role, or you have blue eyes, so how could, like, I would literally go into auditions and it would be for like a Latino role, and they would like look at me and they'd ask me, they'd be like, "Are you Latino?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And they're like, "But you have blue eyes." I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like, have you ever been anywhere? Like, Latino people have like all different color eyes, all different shades of skin. Like, it's that was really frustrating to me. And then at the on the other side of it, I would go in for the Caucasian roles, which were, the code for those at the time was all American. So I would
Mhm.
go and audition for the all American roles, and the first thing that they would ask me was, "What's your background?" Because they were like, "Oh, he's ethnic," and yeah. So I always felt really frustrated, just kind of being stuck in the middle of these two things where they didn't really know how to cast me, and there wasn't a focus on diversity at the time. It was just like, if you're this, you can play this, and if you're this, you can play this, and never the twain shall meet. So it was a frustrating time, and there wasn't that in voiceover. It was like, can you sound like the character?
Mhm.
Yes. All right, let's go.
That is that's one heck of a way to get around adversity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
got to
awesome.
change the game.
What's up, Adam? What's up, Real Jordan? Everyone.
Hey, Adam. I know Adam. How's it going?
What's up, Tempest? Tempest, good to see you again. All right, so cool beans, man. So I know this is so I'm gonna break this up into three questions, and I think that's the fairest way
Okay,
to ask you.
let's do it.
Number one, is there a character you are just dying to voice that you have not voiced yet? Number two, who has been your all-time favorite character to voice?
Okay.
And number three, who's a voice actor you look up to?
Okay. Um, Character that I'd like to voice. Man, I feel like I've gotten the opportunity to voice so many great superheroes that I gotta have a shot at Batman at least once before, while I'm still on this earth.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to give a shot at that. Um, or maybe even Superman. You know, I think that would be super fun. Um, I definitely Honestly, like, I don't think I'm done doing on camera. So, like, there's a bunch of I would love to play like a Kyle Rayner in on camera. I
Okay.
don't think I have the physical build to be a Hal Jordan, but I feel like physically, type wise, and also just in terms of like just the character and what he's into and all of that, I feel like I would fit a Kyle Rayner more than I would fit a Hal Jordan. So I would love to play Kyle Rayner in live action. Would they ever venture down the Green Rabbit, the Green Rabbit, the Green Lantern rabbit hole again? Green Rabbit. There's a yeah. I want to play Green Rabbit. Um, and my favorite character. You said my favorite character that I've already voiced.
Yes.
Would definitely be Spider-Man, because I was a Spider-Man fan from the time I could read. Like that was my favorite comic to read. I love Spidey. Getting to play him has been a dream come true. So definitely it'd be him, and then a close second would be Shiro from Voltron. And then in
My
terms of
man.
like my favorite voice actor, that's a hard one to pick, because there's so many talented people who have had such a big influence on me. But if I had to like really go back far enough, I mean, people like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, like, I grew up listening to them, and
Mhm.
they were so influential on what I enjoyed growing up, and the things that I consumed, that really um, had an impact on what I do, had an influence on my own work. I mean, and even old stuff, even going further back than that, people like Mel Blanc and Dawes Butler, um, like the old classic Hanna-Barbera, and eh, definitely those would be a lot of my favorites. But I mean, I can't really count out so many of the newer people, like a buddy of mine, Eric Bauza. He's so talented, and he's become like the new voice for so many of these Hanna-Barbera classics. Like he's the official voice for like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and like uh, Marvin the Martian. Like he's like everybody. It's insane. And he started out as an artist. He started out as somebody who did storyboards, and um, he would do these. He would do what's called scratch vocals, and scratch vocals will be where they, for those who don't know, when they submit storyboards, they kind of have them timed out, and they'll have somebody do scratch vocals, which would be temporary vocals, so you can just kind of get an idea of the pacing. But his scratch vocals were so good that he ended up like getting hired to do actual voices in the show, and started making a name for himself. And now he's doing like big films, and he's like these legacy tentpole characters, and the guy's just so immensely talented, and I'm so happy to have seen him start out from just wetting his feet in voiceover to being like legit and being like a legend in the making. So he's up there with the greats, in my opinion.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate you giving us like a recent somebody that is recent and kind of like telling their story
Yeah.
along with yours. There's a lot of people that chime in and watch our chat, and like they're wondering if they can do things like that. And like when you tell stories like that, or they get to hear your own story, it gives them more credibility to believe that's something that they can go after.
Oh, absolutely. Like I want to say the barriers to entry have never been as low as they are now, because I was a child actor. I started when I was like 4 years old doing like extra work and commercials and all that kind of stuff. So back then, like there was no internet, there's no social media, there was no way for you to publish your own content and have anybody see it. The only way that you could actually get a name for yourself is like starting at the bottom. But even then, you still had to know somebody who could get you an agent. You still had to have some way of getting your foot in the door that involved a personal connection. It was really, really difficult to just like get discovered. It was like you probably had a better chance of winning the lottery twice, and while getting struck by lightning.
Right.
So now it's different. I mean, you can get completely household name famous without ever having an agent, without ever being in any kind of like a mainstream piece of media. You can make content on TikTok and have an audience of millions of people that subscribe to you. You can have a YouTube channel with millions of subs, like and just making your own stuff, getting an audience that way. And then agents seek you out because you come with a built-in audience. You've already done the marketing for them. So, I mean, there's just so many more opportunities now. So yeah, I mean, anybody wanting to do this, you have so many more avenues to start than anybody from when I was starting did. So yeah, follow your dreams and team up with other people that are doing, some other thing with that's ancillary to what you want to do, or hone those skills yourself. Like the more things you know how to do, the more useful you're going to be, the more chances you're going to have. So
Awesome. Very good advice. Very good to hear. And I hope you kiddos are taking notes, man, because this is what's up here. All right. So now you did bring up one of my characters, and I may jump around here. I love Shiro.
awesome. He's like, again, it's a tough one between him and Spidey, because Spidey I have that childhood love for, and I really felt like I identified with him. A lot of my portrayal of Spider-Man was me just kind of reliving my own high school trauma. But with Shiro was different, because that was the most like reserved voiceover character that I'd ever played. And there's always the danger of him being one note when he holds so much in and you're just playing him with your voice. And so that was something that I really wanted to make sure I didn't do, and finding those little nuances and finding all of those things that still made him real and still made him a human and still had him have these different motivating factors that made sure he wasn't just one note. Like that was a challenge for me. But it was really exciting at the same time. Like I had freedom on that show in terms of developing the character that I didn't have with any other kind of established character. Because like when you're playing something like Spider-Man, you have like a certain sandbox that you have to play in order
Mhm.
for it to be the character. You know, you can put your own spin on it, but there's certain notes you have to hit, certain beats you have to hit for it to be Peter Parker. Otherwise, it's somebody else. Um, but there wasn't that with Shiro, because they said from the beginning it's not Sven from the 80s show. It's its own thing, and so there really was no template. There was no blueprint for how I had to play him, which like I said, on something that already is established like Voltron, to not have to, you know, play in any other sandbox except the one I kind of made was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, it when I'm watching that show, because I've watched it several times. Voltron is my jam.
Yeah.
I have the new version of Voltron back here. I have the old classic one back from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I love them. It's why I draw. It's what got me started drawing.
Wow,
So,
that's really cool. That's really
so
cool.
you voicing Shiro and being on the show tonight is like big crazy for me right now. And
That's awesome.
watching the show and realizing very quickly that yes, Shiro is not him. He's a completely new character that they are breathing life into. Um, I know that obviously they obviously write the script and know where they're taking the character.
Sure.
Um, how difficult was that for you to adjust through Shiro's life of this show? Because it's not easy for him. He is a
Yeah.
quiet character in the beginning, but he gets put through some traumatic things.
Some really traumatic things. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's forced to be to grow through that. So like,
Yes.
how was that for you as a voice actor trying to step into those boots?
Yeah, I mean, it was a collaborative process for sure. Like when I say that it's a sandbox that I made, like I'm not meaning to say that it was just me, you know, like the writers on that show really they really helped focus and guide everything that I did, and they were fantastic.
Hmm.
And the way that I would have to come up with these things, or the way that I would really kind of hone that portrayal, was headcanons, because I would approach it the same way that I would if I was on camera and I was doing an on camera character, where the script only tells you so much, but the life of the character, it far exceeds what they tell you in the script. So if you don't want it to be one note, if you want it to have depth, if you want it to feel like a person who's actually lived, you have to fill in all those blanks. You have to like sit there and imagine scenarios, make up a history, make up events. Um, it doesn't even have to be canon with the script. It could be something totally different than what the script would say. It just has to be enough to give you something to think about when you're having those moments. It has to be enough where you can pull from that to motivate some action you're going to take, or something that you're going to say, and the way you say it. If there's a history behind that, if there's something that you think in the background while you're having this conversation, something that's going to color that a different way than you just saying the words. Oh, I just lost my headphone. Then it's going to feel like a more living, breathing person. So, like I said, I would just sit and I would headcanon a lot. I would come up with my own stories for his history, my own stories for what he went through when he was in captivity, my own stories for why he left, my own stories for him and Adam's relationship, my own stories for what was going on in the astral plane, like all that kind of stuff. Like you have to come up with your own stuff, because like I said, the script, it's not just Shiro's story. There's 5 paladins they're focusing on. There's Allura, there's Karan, there's a bunch of other supporting characters. There's so much for them to deal with that they're not just going to go into a deep dive into everything that's going on in Shiro's head. So, as the actor, you kind of have to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's really where a lot of that came from, was just a lot of sitting at home and sitting and thinking.
That's awesome. So it makes me want to. This is the last question I asked about Shiro, and then we'll move
Sure.
on. I
Hey,
just
man,
love
it's all
it, though,
good.
but
I love
um,
Shiro.
with you having to come up with that stuff and go through it, because oh God, so much stuff. Like when he fought Keith, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
But also all the stuff in the astral plane when he was, you know, trying to get the Black Lion back. Like that was super dope to me. And
Yeah.
his challenges with that in his fight. So if any of that headcanon that you were helping develop your voice with that character,
Mhm.
like was there any moments when you voiced it and then like the voice director might have been like stopping, like, where'd you get that from? Or like, where are you coming from that? Like,
No, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of times it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think that there was ever anything that I did where they like kind of just stopped for a second, asked. I think they kind of just took it as it came, and sometimes the headcanon might have put me in a direction that, in terms of the overall story, might not have hit the beat that they needed.
okay.
And so that's why we had an amazing director. We had the legend herself, Andrea Romano, who has directed Tiny Toons and Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs and like so many other like massively successful shows. Like she's a legend in her profession.
Right.
And she can instantly like hear a scene, hear where it's going, and know exactly what it needs. So if she has no notes, then I consider that a massive win. If she has some notes, then we just kind of talk it out and try it again and go with that. Um, but I would say the no notes would be like, all right, yeah, because they're not going to let you go on if they didn't like it.
Right.
Right? Sometimes they'll tell you that was great or that was awesome or really good take. Um, but yeah, no, I don't think they ever really asked like, where did you get that? Um, because I don't know, like a lot of that's I'm more open about it with certain things. Like there's certain things that I'm probably not going to open up about. Like if it's something that was really personal to me that I used, then I probably wouldn't like divulge that headcanon to anybody that asked. But if there's certain things that, had they asked, I probably would have said, yeah, I thought about this and this. But yeah, no, that never happened. Not in that way.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. Like I said, I appreciate hearing these things because I know voice acting rooms are different for TV shows. I know they're different for movies and things like that. And I've seen voice acting rooms where the other actors are all in the same room and they're vibing off each other, or I've seen
Yeah.
rooms where they're just by themselves. How was it for you guys? Did you guys ever have rooms together, or was it all soloed
When
up?
we were doing Voltron, yeah, most of the records were full cast records
Oh,
where
okay.
we were all in the room, we were all playing the scenes off of each other. And one of the really awful things that has happened since the COVID lockdowns, and we all like everybody has their own studio now. Like behind
Mhm.
this is just like a backdrop, but behind that backdrop I have a vocal booth. Now I've had my vocal booth for like 15 years, but like before it was more like a luxury. And unless you had like a daily commitment job that you had to connect from, which I did for about a decade, you didn't need a vocal booth. You would go audition at your agent's. You drive in, it was like going into the office and you would just audition there. But since COVID, um, because none of the on-camera stuff could film because close contact, a lot of animation still tried to keep going because that they figured we can do this without any kind of contact. So everybody had to get booths. If you wanted to work, you had to have a booth. I helped so many friends that had tech, because I'm a techie. So they would come to me with tech questions. I would say, you need to get this, you need to get this, you need to make sure that this sounds like this. And um, there was a lot of that. But the thing that's a bummer is that once production realized, hey, you know what, we don't have to worry about scheduling everybody together. We can just have this one little studio that's going to be used as like the connection hub, and everybody connects from their own studio. But they, instead of like having us all together, they just record us one by one.
Mm.
And to me, it sucks, man. Like it's fine. You have to depend on your voice director a lot more and it's a lot harder for them because now they have to keep all of these performances consistent with each other without having them be in the same room and still have everything kind of mesh as if they are. But I feel like there's a certain energy that's lost when you're not playing the scene face to face. Because again, like if I'm preparing a scene, let's just say I'm doing a scene with Keith, and Keith is the incredible Stephen Yun. So let's just say I'm doing a scene with him. If I was acting this out, if let's just say it's a remote thing, and so it's just me and Andrea, and he recorded his stuff at a different time with Andrea. I'm going to I've worked with him already, so I kind of know how he is. I kind of know how he sounds. I kind of can anticipate some of his acting choices, kind of. But again, that's just me making guesses. At the end of the day, like I'm not him. So
Mhm.
even if I can try to guess what he's going to do and how he's going to play that moment, I might only be right like 15-20% of the time. Because most of the time, since he's a totally different sentient being that's going to have his own history and his own headcanons that he's bringing to it that I'm not privy to, he's going to make choices that are going to be very different from what I had thought in my head when I rehearsed. And if I'm truthful in that moment, I'm going to respond a very different way than I would have responded had I just been kind of acting with the Keith in my head, the Stephen Yeun in my head.
Mhm.
And those are the moments that to me are like the realest ones, because those are actual truthful reactions from something that I wasn't expecting. And I feel like so many of those opportunities for those moments are lost when you don't record together. That's not to say that you're going to have like, bad acting. Like all of us are used to working this way.
Mhm.
We have great voice directors, but there's just like a certain magic that happens when people are interacting in real time. Like we even had some of that in Spider-Man Edge of Time, which was a video game where I played Amazing Spider-Man, and Christopher Daniel Barnes, who was the Spider-Man in the 90s, played Miguel. This was Spider-Verse before Spider-Verse.
Okay. Right. I think I remember that one.
And this was one of the few games, not even at the time, they still don't really record them this way at all, where the two of us were both in the studio together and we were acting these scenes out with each other. And you can feel it. Like when you play the game and you're playing through that story, you feel it. Like you feel that these people are inhabiting the same space at the same time and having a real conversation, a real argument, a real emotional moment. Because we're right there. We're in that moment, and the timing is what it was. It wasn't something where they were just putting two vocals together and kind of editing it up so that they could get the timing to flow a certain way. Like, no, that was flowing that way as it came out of our mouths. So, I mean, I prefer working that way. It's almost to the point now where like I miss it so much that I'm going to start auditioning for on camera again, just so I can fill that void of actual interpersonal interaction and acting opposite somebody in front of me. I miss it. I miss it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I've seen and heard actors, mention that beforehand, and obviously, COVID has taken a lot from us, and it sucks, man.
Yeah.
But I know for a lot of studios, it's the bottom line, it's budgets and things like that, and what can get the job done a lot of times. So I hope more studios will venture back into that, because I do think you get a lot more play when you have the people in the room with you. Um,
Absolutely.
one of the things one of the things that they did with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that they had those kids all in the room together.
Yeah.
So all those arguments and
And their
stuff,
energy
they're
was
off the cuff.
fantastic. Their
Yeah,
energy was awesome. You
yeah.
felt it.
All those arguments were off the cuff, and they just sat back and let them play them out, and then was
Yeah.
like, all right, that's good enough. We got to get back on track now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so awesome stuff. So, um, what has been your preference for voice acting, gaming or the cartoons?
Um, it's you know what? It's been kind of a toss up because like I really do love serialized stories. I love I I love the depth that you can get into the character with a serialized story. Something that's going to go on for 60 episodes, 65 episodes, it's it's great. It's great. Like you can really get into the history of the character. You can really because you're also doing that maybe one episode a week. So if you're doing 60 episodes, I mean, you're working on that for over a year just recording. You have a lot of time to really get into that headspace that you don't necessarily have with video games. That being said,
Oh,
um, when you add mocap into the equation, and it's not just voiceover, when you're actually doing a mocap role, that's more akin to an on-camera job. Like they're capturing your movement, they're capturing your facial expressions. You're actually acting opposite somebody in real time. You have a space you have to inhabit, so you have like um, you have blocking. You have blocking is the movements and places you're going to go while you're performing the scene that you kind of plan out ahead of time so that the camera knows how to follow you. But again, in mocap, it's crazy because they have cameras everywhere. They're really recording your body in a 3D space, and they can put the camera wherever they want after the fact. Like when they're doing on camera, they have to set up, okay, this is going to be a tracking shot. This is going to be a wide shot. This is going to be the over the shoulder. This is going to be the close up. This is going to be like a 2-shot. They don't have to plan any of that. They can do it afterwards. They're recording everything in 3D space and recording your face right in front of you. So they can basically decide, okay, we're going to take this footage and do a tracking shot from here to here, cut in for this over the shoulder. Now go to this close up. And now we're going to have like, a fly cam where it's like a fly that's flying in and it's going to land on his nose. And they just do that. They just, kind of draw in that camera movement, and they can do it with that same data. So I really love working that way as well, because it feels more like what I started doing, which was on camera. So I'd say if we're doing mocap, mocap's up there. I really love doing that. But then, just cartoons in general. That was my first love. That's what I grew up really watching and consuming. So that's a tough one. I would say that like mocap and cartoons are pretty tied for me.
Okay. All right. Got a couple things in the chat here. Dan the Man says, if Josh sees this, please let Robert Kirkman know. We want to see you star in an Agent Spider spinoff.
Oh, that's hilarious. What's funny is that the week that episode came out, the fandom was really, really fun, and I kind of was messing around with them for a while, and this really talented artist named Rock Rider, who is he does a lot of cool art. He heard some of the tweets I was making because, like, well, how can you hear a tweet? He saw some of the tweets that I was making. Like people were kind of asking, what Agent Spider's real name would be, and would he be part of like, would he be part of the like the Avengers or whatever? But I was like, no, he's legally distinct, so everything else would have to be legally distinct. So I came up with like different names for like the Agents of Vengeance instead of the Avengers, and like all these other names. And he ran with it, man. Like he actually made this really cool poster that was Agent Spider, kind of doing a spider pose in front of like this pool of blood, and in the pool of blood was the Spectacular Spider-Man. So it was like this cool juxtaposition of the two. And then he even made like, and this poster was as if Agent Spider had a show, so it looked like a promo poster for Agent Spider's show. And then the other thing that he did was he actually made promo posters for Agents of Vengeance, and he came up with character designs for all of the agents. It was incredible. It was incredible. So I would love for them to do in some sort of Agent Spider spinoff. I don't know how feasible that would be, or how realistic it would be, but I would like it. I think the fandom would think it was cool. It would be fun. I think you would have to have the other agents in there, and the Agents of Vengeance. I'd be 100% down. I'd be down for that.
That's what's up. That sounds incredible. I love it when artists pick up on something that's happening and then they just dive into it. I think that's when you get some of the best engagement and interactions.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see here. Dan the Man says masterclass with you. Sign you up. Sign them up.
Hey, if I ever do that, I'll definitely put it on my socials.
J-Man, what's up, man? How you doing? J-Man says, have you created a voice for a character but end up doing a different voice? But the voice you created the first time you use that voice for another character?
Oh yeah, I mean, that would probably apply more to like smaller characters that I've done, where like, because there's times where, there's some games where I've done like in Star Wars Old Republic, I was like 30-40 different characters in that, and then I did this one audiobook for a World of Warcraft audiobook where, I mean, you're literally playing all the characters in the book. So you have to come up with a bunch of different voices, and some of them sound similar and some of them sound the same because you can only do so many things with the instrument that you have. But absolutely, you never waste a voice. If you come up with something and they decide to go a different way, absolutely use that voice for something else. You can totally find another use for it. So that's just working smart, man. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that is working smart. Hey, Josh, I don't know if you remember me, but my question is, when are we going to see you stream again?
I've been working out all the kinks because I'm probably going to start streaming WoW again, just because the new expansion's coming out. I really want to play it, and so I like to stream when I play. But I was away from WoW during Dragonflight, so I like whenever you go an entire expansion without playing, the game moves on. So like there's all kinds of new spells and new talent trees and new ways of speccing the character, new interface stuff. All of my interface add-ons are completely obsolete and have to be updated, and then I have to relearn how to play the class again, and I have to redo all of my key bindings and get my hands used to the key binds again, so I'm not just like stumbling all over the place. And so that's almost like another job. And I feel like that wouldn't really be interesting to watch, me struggle with key binds. I mean, maybe it would, I don't know. But I feel like I've gotten it to a point where I'm somewhat proficient again. So I'll definitely be starting streaming. I don't want to make a promise yet, but I was thinking about trying to find a day this weekend to stream. But probably next week. It's been a minute, and everybody that stuck by with me, thank you so much for being patient. And it's also been a very busy year. I've been at a lot of cons.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. It's been pretty crazy. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be streaming again, if not this week, next week.
Awesome. Something I love about Voltron Legendary Defender was the chemistry that the whole cast had with each other. Did you have fun recording with them, and do you still keep in touch?
We had a blast. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, we still keep in touch. We have a group chat, and we talk from time to time. Every now and then, like we have a little group. It's usually me and Kimberly Brooks, who was Allura, and AJ Lucasio, who was Lotor, and Griffin, and Bex Taylor Klaus, who was Pidge. And we usually get together more because we're kind of local to each other. I know Jeremy lives somewhere else, and Hunk, I call him Hunk, but it's Tyler. Tyler's always off filming. He's always on location, and same with Steven. So it's a lot harder to kind of like meet up with them. But yeah, I mean, we all had a great time. We all loved working with each other. And I mean, that's why the Paladins had such a good chemistry, because we all got along and really enjoyed each other's company in real life. So
awesome. Jamin says, have you ever wrecked your voice on a character?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Wow. Like, yeah, like whenever you're doing anything that's like, really back in the throat or anything like that, those things are like terrible for your voice. Or anything where you're doing like a military game or something with a lot of screaming, you can absolutely wreck your voice. And so it's like, we call those vocally stressful sessions. And in the last negotiation that we had for our contracts, we have it mandated that vocally stressful sessions where you're going to be doing a lot of shouting or whatever, they can be no longer than 2 hours, because after 2 hours, you're really not going to be able to perform much anyway. And once you get past that, you're really risking doing like permanent damage to yourself. And at the very least, you're making it certain that you're not going to be able to work the rest of the week. So usually if I have a vocally stressful session, I don't even like to schedule them unless it's a Friday. And I don't have anything after it. That way I have the weekend to kind of recover. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can like wreck your voice by not even doing a part, but like I used to really come back from some of these cons with no voice, because a lot of times when you're in a convention center having to talk over the din of the entire convention, and I mean, you're out there at those tables for like 8 hours. So, I mean, if you're talking at an elevated level for like 8 hours for 3 days, you're not going to have a voice on Monday. So I actually started using this like a Britney Spears microphone, like one of those little headset mics with a speaker.
I got one too.
Yeah, it was my wife's idea. This was back during COVID. She would see the teachers using those because they had to teach a class with a mask on. And so rather than shout through a mask and have no voice, they started all wearing these little speakers with the headset mics. And it makes such a huge difference, man. Like, it makes such a huge difference. I can still work on Monday. It's beautiful. And also not many people use them, so it instantly kind of gets attention when you have this mic on and you're just like shouting at people through a speaker. It's pretty funny. But yeah, no,
right.
yes, J-Man, I've absolutely wrecked my voice. I think one of them that I really remember doing it on was I played this character named Danger Bird in a live action show called Kirby Buckets. And he had a really gravelly voice, which is number one, a terrible thing for your own voice. And he screamed a lot, and he did a lot of chicken clucks and bagocks and all of that. But like really, he was like a daredevil. So he would always be getting hurt. And so he was always chicken screaming. And yeah, that was rough on my voice. That was really, really rough. But it was a fun character. So
All right. So okay, Jim, I do a lot of voices, and Macho Man Randy Savage wrecks mine sometimes because of his vocal range. And I wrecked it a while I was at work over 2 hours. Yeah. He does do a Macho Man, a mean Macho Man.
Yeah, for sure.
We only got a little bit of time here, man. This has been a great conversation, man.
It's just kind of flown by, man.
Yeah. So I want to know, when you're not voice acting, man. So we already heard you're into World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
What else are you into? What are any of the latest movies you've gotten to see or looking forward to checking out?
I love video games. So, I mean, like, my wife and I are big Fallout players. I like playing Minecraft. I like racing games. I was a big Forza junkie. I would always try to like set world records and tune the cars. And oddly enough, the Hot Wheels racing game that's out right now, which I thought was going to be super cheesy, is way better than it has any right to be. It is so much fun. It's called Hot Wheels Unleashed. Fantastic game. And it has nothing to do with the show. So I'm not just like plugging it because, I'm on a Hot Wheels show. It's an awesome game. The driving physics feel nice. All of the cars have a different feel. And the tracks are ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. Like, you're basically like literally racing a Hot Wheels, where all the tracks are like those orange tracks, but they go through like dorm rooms and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, it's awesome. Okay. They have Looney Tunes ones, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I love playing video games. I love, like I said, I was a car guy. I still am a car guy. You're always a car guy. So I grew up like tuning cars and modifying stuff. And that's also kind of translated to like house stuff. So I love taking things apart and learning how they work and putting them back together. I love home repair stuff. So like, I know how to drywall. I know how to do like electric and plumbing, even though I don't do a lot of plumbing because it's gross. I hire somebody else to do it. But yeah, man, I do appliance repair. I do all that stuff. Like, I like figuring stuff out. I'm a sucker for buying tools because then you can do it forever.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So that's one thing I'm really passionate about. In terms of like movies and shows and stuff, we just started watching the new season of Cobra Kai. I feel like they did such a great job on that show.
Just finished that myself.
I haven't finished it yet. I'm only in like episode 3. And the guy in that, Sholo Maridueña, he's phenomenal, man. And like, I always felt like he had really great Peter Parker energy, the guy that plays Miguel. And I always felt like he had great Peter Parker energy.
Okay.
And then he was in Blue Beetle, which the character was very much like a Peter Parker. And I really felt bad for that movie because I feel like that movie should have gotten so much more attention than it did.
It absolutely should have.
That movie was a banger, man. Like, I love that movie. I hope that they can still do like a second Blue Beetle. I loved it.
Well, the good thing about it is James Gunn said it is in his DC universe. So technically speaking, it's the first movie in the new James Gunn DC universe. Okay. James Gunn loved it. It really should have. I agree absolutely with you. It really should have got way more attention because it was exactly the type of movie that DC needed. It was just fun,
Yeah, it was
good
fun.
action, and the family
The family
aspect.
dynamic was amazing. It
Yeah.
was
So
amazing.
yeah, people get on my nerves, man. I was just talking about this online today. Like, literally, if you do not like it, you do not have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't, like, because there's always a way to talk about something you don't like, and give it a critique professionally, and not be a dick about it. But
Yeah.
people don't know how to, but most people do not do that, and they choose the irate route, and it's like you're taking stuff from other people.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're ruining it for other people because obviously you cannot like something, but did it ever occur to you that maybe that wasn't made for you?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
might be a slim chance that just was not made for you.
Yeah. And I think that another thing that hurt is that we were on strike at the time, so like nobody could do any promotion for it. So
Yeah.
that kind of sunk it as well. And then that Fallout series. The Fallout series, man, as somebody who is obsessed with Fallout and somebody who has been an avid Fallout fan for many, many years, I was so ready for that show to let me down. I was so ready for it to suck. And it was perfect. Like, and I don't say that lightly. Like, I don't just hand out this show's awesomes. Like, it was great. Like everything about that show kicked ass. Like there was nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
That's wild. I love it.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastically done show. And you know what? It's like it's just it's proof right there in the pudding that you can stay true to the story and the lore and the world of an existing video game universe and make an amazing show. You don't have to change so many things to get it to fit a TV audience or anything like that. Like you can just make a story within the world and it's going to be awesome because the world is awesome. So, I mean, they did it right. They did it right. Like there was so much fan service in there, but like when you have a show, and I think Spectacular Spider-Man also does this, when you have a show that somebody can watch and love and enjoy knowing nothing about the source material, but at the same time have tons and tons and tons of Easter eggs for people that are fans of the property, so that like the bigger a fan you are, the more there is for you. Success. It's a great show.
I agree with that. It did take me a little bit to get into the show. I will admit that. I got pissed because the cowboy, the ghoul instantly got me. So I was there for his story, seeing where he was at, and but it did take me about 3 or 4 episodes to finally like get in. I was like, all right, my ticket's punched.
Sure.
I'm here for it. But I'm not a Fallout player. I've never played any Fallout games, or anything like that. But I mean, obviously they did what they did. I guess I just wish they would have fleshed out or given us just a little bit more time with the other 2 characters like they did the ghoul. Because the ghoul's backstory is what really pulled me in, and seeing who he was. And it's like, well, damn, what did it take to get him to this point?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it got me. So I'm definitely here for season.
But he is that link to the before time. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why they were able to spend so much more on his, because he has more of a history, you know, with it's Lucy, right? Yeah, with Lucy, she's you know, she's new, and that's all she's ever known was that vault life. So it's almost like with her, they can't really give her the backstory because her story is her basically becoming him, you know, becoming that survivor. She's going from this place of just being safe and never having a care in the world to having to approach life like him, make those decisions. So her story is not like, her story has really just begun. Like she's made, and he even says that there's this one line that he has where he basically tells her, "You're me. You just don't know. Either you don't know it yet. I forget what the line was. You're me. You just don't know it yet, or you just haven't figured that out yet, or something like that." But yeah,
I think I believe I know what line you're talking about. So from that aspect, my friend, I did not look at it that way.
Yeah,
that I forgot about that line. So that is valid. That is valid.
Yeah.
That adds a little bit more.
And you can see her transit, like you can even see it in her okie dokies. Like somebody, I saw somebody that did like a compilation of every time she said okie dokie in the show, and it was just those back to back. And the journey she takes just from that very first super chipper, carefree okie dokie to the very last one of the show it's awesome. It's awesome. Really, really, really cool journey.
Awesome. Well, I got that done for us. I still got to put some tones on it, but we got the Spider-Man. And
Hey man, he's awesome. I love the pose. I love the pose. That's actually me when I'm trying to get out of bed. I'm trying to hold on. I don't want to leave, but the rest of me saying no, you got to.
Absolutely, I hear that. So I'll email this over to you. This is yours to have. Use whatever you want
Oh,
for promo
thank
or
you.
whatnot.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
I want to thank you for being on the show, man. I really appreciate you coming out here. This is like I said, I didn't realize what time it was. Time has flown by. This has been a
Yeah,
very good conversation.
it's crazy.
Um, I wish you luck. But before we get out of here, let's talk about a few things that you are going to be doing. Let me get rid of
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I said stop screen sharing. All right, thank you. All right, let's share. All right, so you are going to be all right. So some of your projects that you have coming up right now, you talked about the Hot Wheels one. Is that out
Yes.
right now or coming out?
That is out right now.
All right.
That's out right now
And we can go view this on
on Netflix.
Netflix. All right,
Yeah.
all right. And then I can't wait for this one, baby.
Yeah, Arcane season 2. Arcane season 2. I'm in that.
All right. So want to tell everybody what character you are in Arcane?
I was in well, I don't want to necessarily spoil
Oh, okay.
what I
All
do
right.
in
Cool,
season
cool, cool.
2. In season 1, I played a couple of characters. I played a character named Deckard, who was like the bully that antagonizes the kids in the beginning, and then
Mhm.
he ends up getting the injection of the purple stuff and
Oh,
turning
okay.
into that big hulking monster. And so that I played him. And then I also played the council member Salo. Who he was
Okay.
the one with the very pale skin and the blonde hair, and he really felt very highly of himself. That guy. And I also played a character named the Gorgeous Man, who only had like one line, and he was very gorgeous. And yeah, so I will I will leave it open ended as to which one of those, if any of them, will be coming back into season 2
Okay.
and what they're
Appreciate
going
it.
to do, or if it's going to be something completely new. But I can tell you that the season is incredible. I was doing ADR on it. ADR is when you kind of go back and you do like pickups on certain things. But I got to see a fair amount of it doing ADR, and it looks incredible. There's a lot of emotional moments, and it's gonna be just as much of a ride as the first one was.
Awesome. Awesome. And then you were Captain American,
I
X Men
was Captain
97.
America in X-Men 97.
A lot of
So
people
yeah.
disliked you this year, man.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I thought Cap was great in there. I thought they did a good job with X Men '97. I actually did not know you were Cap, so that is really cool that you were Captain America.
Hey, I was unrecognizable. Love it.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, you do a great job of your voice and finding out because like when we said Arcane and I went back, I was like, he was in Arcane.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah. And then the one I'm excited about because I'm going to cop this game as soon as it drops. You're in
Yes.
Marvel Rivals.
Yes, I'm Iron Man.
Dude, that's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. And from what I hear, he's pretty. I don't want to say overpowered. I'd say adequately powered. He should never be nerfed, only buffed.
Oh, Tony Stark is always overpowered. But no, definitely looking forward to playing Iron Man with your voice on there, man. That's dope.
Awesome.
And then you are going to be at hold on, you're going to be at a few different conventions.
Yes, I have 4 more cons this year. And then I'm going to start planning for 2025. But yeah, the ones that I have coming up, Twin Cities Con in Minneapolis, that is going to be in November 7th. No, wait, November 8th.
Mhm.
Cape Con in Cape Girardeau,
Mhm.
Minnesota. I hope I'm saying that right. And that is November 1st through 3rd. And then I'm also going to be at the Midwest Toy and Comic Fest in Chicago. And that's going to
Awesome.
be September 20th through 21st and 22nd. And then the last one will be Alabama Comic Con.
Oh, I missed that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. That's going to be the 28th and 29th of September.
All right. All right, cool beans. So please go out there and go check out Josh. Meet him at those comic book conventions and watch the stuff he's in so he can be in more stuff. Go ahead and give
Hey,
him
I
a
like the
follow
way you
and
think.
Hey, why do you think I want to show everybody your stuff, man?
All right.
Go give X-Men 97 a rewatch. Arcane season 2 is coming out in November. Hot Wheels is already out on Netflix. Just let your kids watch that. I mean,
Also,
your kids
go watch Voltron again, because from what I
Yeah.
hear, they're actually taking Voltron off of Netflix at the end of the year.
No.
Yeah. I don't know why. But it's going to be leaving Netflix, from what I hear.
That's all right, man. So I got to
Yeah.
put another watch on that. All right, and Marvel Rivals, he'll be Iron Man. So
Yeah.
Josh, I want to thank you again so much for coming out, chat for all the questions, and hanging out with us today. And hey, man, it's been a great show. I'll email this to you, man. But enjoy the rest of your night. Join me next in about 10 minutes for the second part of the double hitter tonight. Josh, where can everybody follow you at on socials?
You can follow me on Twitter. It will always be Twitter to me.
Okay,
At Josh
right, Ivory.
Keaton. Yeah, just at Josh Keaton. On Instagram, I am Space Padre. On TikTok, I am the Josh Keaton. Let me see. YouTube is YouTube Josh Keaton. And then what else do I have? Do I have something else? Facebook, I think it's Josh Keaton's page. So there's no consistency. And then Twitch. Twitch.tv/Space Padre. Follow me on Twitch. I will be streaming either this week or next week to start. I'm going to try to make it more of a regular thing. But yeah, I like to chat with people. I like to play games with people. Sometimes we'll get like a WoW raid together, and I'll have viewers come in and go and run some quests, some dungeons with me, and it's a good time. So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, like I said, in 5 minutes, Joe, me back. Josh, you have a wonderful night, man. Thank you again for coming out.
You too, man. Have a great one.
All right, later.
I think that I should ask Mr. Watson. I think that I should ask Mr. Watson. I think that I should ask Mr. Watson. I think that I should ask Mr. Watson.